We're doing the top 10 interview questions according to ChatGPT, which is presumably what we're all going to be asked next week. Number three, to the time of the great on-take timer. Number three is why do you want to work here?
That one's also tricky because I understand that they have that element of going, did you do your research? Have you gone through the entire website and all the press releases we've done about how fantastic, awesome our company is? And I mean, the honest answer usually is, I find if you apply for a job, it's not because of the company, it's because the job spec sounds like it's something you might enjoy doing. In my case, the way it is written sounds like it hasn't been written by a bunch of cocks. So it's like you sounded interesting on paper.
I think in my case it's usually...
Also, I'd like to be paid.
Yeah, I think for most people the answer is largely, I looked at the job spec, I reckon I can probably just about blag doing that for a living and the money looks okay. But if you actually say that at an interview, no one's going to hire you. It's just going to be, where's your passion and your love and your drive for it? It's like,
not in the office.
And it's different because I suppose it depends what org you're going to work for. Because say if you're going for... So for example, I had a friend who, senior technical architect, great guy, doing an interesting job, good money, but he wanted to get into sustainable kind of businesses and predicting... Not sustainable, that's the wrong phrase. He wanted to get into sort of tech for good where you are predicting natural disasters, and that's really what he wanted to do. So he went and got a different job at a pay cut with the idea that he'd eventually move on and get to this point of going to this different business. So what was driving him was that was a stepping stone to get into tech, to learn more in that particular field so that later on he could move to something else. So for him, I guess why he wanted to work there was because that was his next point. So, yeah. But I think that tends to be the exception. Most people you speak to aren't like that. Realistically, why do you want to work here? It's either fully remote or it's not far from home. It kind of looks okay and the money's all right so I can pay my bills.
Yeah, I find it's a little bit unfair to expect people to be passionate about their jobs, because essentially that's not where you put your passion in.
Yeah, and also...
If it is, you're going to be really depressed when you retire.
I think you may. So some jobs and some businesses you can get really passionate about and really interested in and care about what you do. I know I've had that quite a few jobs, but I don't think you know that before you start there. Until you actually start working there, you don't understand it. You know, you might go for the most exciting company, the most exciting industry. Why do you want to work here? Because I love computer games. I really want to write them. And then you spend your whole career texture mapping models and you really just hate it after the first 3 months. Or you really love it and you're really passionate about it. You're not going to know until you do it. And so why do you want to work here? I don't know yet. It's the honest... It's either... For me, there's two honest answers for most people. There's either... Well, three. Either it happens to be some niche company I've always wanted to work for and I'm super excited. Yeah. Or the money's right. Or I don't know yet. And therefore, anything else is kind of, you're probably blagging it again. And so, what's the point of asking?
Yeah, I find it really is a silly question.
For me, I kind of think with interviews, now I do tech interviews more than general interviews. I've done both, but you've got like 60 to 90 minutes, depending on what you can get away with the recruitment, your recruiters, to speak to someone and understand if they can do the work you do, if they're going to sort of be comfortable in the job and if you're going to be happy working together. And therefore, everything you ask should be optimized around
maximizing that
understanding. And for me, why do you want to work here isn't that. That's a filling question because
that's a
placeholder. Couldn't be asked to prepare.
Yeah. This is a useless question, I find. It's a question where nobody can be fully honest.
So we might actually, I reckon we've only gone about 5 minutes over time on that one. So, why do you want to work here? Because I want to talk a lot. So that's that. So that's question, what was that, 4, 5?
3.
3, even. Why do I want to work here? Not because of my maths.